Hey everyone, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. So we're already very up close and personal, and that is because today I'm going to be showing you my brow routine. So how I fill in my brows, shape them, what products I love. So I really hope that you enjoy this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel before you leave and check out my social media links below. And if you'd like to learn how I fill in my brows, then just keep watching. In terms of my brow care and grooming, I've never had them professionally done before, which I don't know if that's necessarily a good or bad thing, because when I'm loose with tweezers, things escalate from 0 to 100 real quick. But I just think brows are all about preference. You know, my brow hairs are quite long but sparse. Even if I did go to a professional, there's not much to work with. You know, I just think it's all about experimenting. I've gone through years of experimenting with my brows. I look back at photos and I just cringe because I've gone through like the clown brows, the block brows where I've literally squared them off. Then I've overplucked and literally have no brows. Right now I'm kind of like cutting off the end of my brow, and I'm probably going to watch this video in like a few years and just be like, why, Katie? Why? And I don't really worry about what my brow looks like when I don't have them filled in. You know, I did cut off a little bit of the end of my brow because I like my brows to be very sharp and clean, so that just makes it easier for me. And you know, even if I'm just going to the gym, I will always find the time to fill in my brows, even just a little bit. But I do look at those like feathered, natural, fluffy brows, and I think they're beautiful, but I couldn't pull them off, you know, firstly because I haven't got enough brow hairs or shape to my brows. Secondly, because when I see a brow hair at a place, I'm like, I need to fix that, get my tools, like I need to fix that now. So the sharp, clean brow is definitely my personal preference, but again, it's just all about what you like and experimenting. Another personal preference is I like to do my brows after my whole face is done. You know, I can definitely understand why people like to do their brows before foundation, because if they've made a mess, it's easy to clean up. But when I start to add powder to set my foundation, then it goes in my brows, so I have to touch it back up. Or when I'm doing bronzer, sometimes I'll mess up the end of my brows, and brows are a lot of hard work, time and effort, so we can't afford for that to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and do my full face of makeup, obviously except for the brows, and then I'll be right back. Now let's get on to the brows, because looking at myself with a full face of makeup on except for my brows is just terrifying. So before I do anything, the first thing I do is take a spoolie and brush through my brows. Pretty self-explanatory, but just so that they are all in the right direction, they're all nice and neat, and it will just make the process of filling them in and shaping them a little bit easier. The next thing I'll do is grab a brow pencil, and what I look for in a brow pencil is that it's waxy and creamy. So let me give you some examples. So here I've got the Chi Chi High Definition Eyebrow Pencil, and this literally looks like it should be in a pencil case. I hate brow products like this. Most of the time they are extremely waxy and hard to use. So let me just show you on the back of my hand. So I'm pressing so hard right now to get any pigmentation, and when you're filling in your brows, you don't want to be pressing hard. So when I press softly, no pigmentation. They are just really hard to use, really hard to get any definition because they are quite chunky and fat. Just, I stay far away from them. But on the other hand, here I have the Milani Easy Brow Pencil, and this has no waxiness, no hold to it. It is just so creamy. So it comes in this roll-up pencil, but because it is so creamy, you can't get any precision with it, and it's just honestly a hot mess. And this might be great if, you know, you're just slightly just filling in sparse areas, but again, if you want precision to your brows, stay away from this product. But I totally understand that brow pencils can be expensive, and I go through them like no tomorrow. So my favorite affordable brow pencil is the Nyx Micro Brow. It just has the perfect amount of waxiness and creaminess, and it also has a spoolie on the other end. So if you're in the hunt for a affordable brow pencil, this is the one that I would recommend. But my go-to brow pencils are definitely more on the high-end side. So like the Benefit Precisely My Brow, the Anastasia Brow Wiz, the Tarte Amazonian Clay Brow Pencil, which is actually what I'm going to be using today. I do switch between my brow products sometimes, but I tend to go for this one because it is a little bit cheaper than the Anastasia one, the Benefit one. Unfortunately, it does only come in like 3 shades though, but because it is that little bit cheaper, I tend to buy this in bulk. So that is what I'm going to be using today. So to start with, I always create a line under my brow. but leaving this beginning bit bare because I like to make that look a little bit more natural. So I'm just going to start the line about here. I'm just doing feathering strokes just so that it's not too harsh. And I don't like to go straight across. I like to start this beginning bit down a little bit and then go upwards so that I can create an arch to my brow. Once I get to the end of my brow hairs, I'm then going to make a fake end to my brow. And they tell you that the end of your brow should line up to the corner of your eye and your nose, but I like to extend my brow further than that because I just like that, and I think that it suits my face shape. So I'm going to go ahead and create a fake end to my brow. So I've gone up a little bit, just going to go down. And I just want to make it clear that I definitely have my terrible brow days. Some days they're sisters, other days they're long lost cousins. You know, I do the same techniques, and some days it's just not my day. So once I've created the bottom line to my brow, I'm then gonna brush down at my brow hairs and start to draw the top line. Again, leaving the beginning bit bare, but then start to create a line on the top of my brow. And I'm gonna kind of create like a fake arch because I haven't got an arch. And then just joining that up to the bottom line. I then like to brush the hairs back up and assess the situation. So I want my arch to be a little bit bigger. I want the end of my brow to extend a bit further. So I'm just gonna fix that up. I then like to go and fill in my brow, just doing feather-like strokes, you know, not coloring in my brow, making it really heavy, but still getting it nice and filled in. You know, I never use a powder. I just think, you know, I'm using my pencil to like shape my brow, so why not use it to fill it in? And just constantly brushing out as I go. So things are getting a little bit messy towards the end of my brow. So I'm just going to go in with some of the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer on this angled Morphe brush that came in an eye set to clean up my brow a little bit. We still have quite a few steps to go, so this cleaning up process doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want to clean up a little bit. So I'm just taking that concealer and cleaning up the brow. And I know that I'm putting a cream on top of a powder, but I'm only putting on a really small amount. So I can just blend that out and it kind of blends into the powder with no problems. Now we're going to use a pomade to really darken up my brow and sharpen the edges. So I love the Chi Brow Pomade in dark brown. Again, I also love the Anastasia Dip Brow, but I find that the Chi one lasts longer and doesn't dry out as fast. I also love how creamy it is so that it really glides on the brow, and you know, you don't have to like tug at the product to get any pigmentation. So my holy grail brow brush used to be the Zoeva Wing Liner Brush, but it's actually been replaced by the Sigma Small Angle Brush. And this is because the Sigma one is a little bit smaller and a little bit denser. So I find that I can get more precision with it. Whereas the Zoeva one was a little bit flimsy. I still love it, but it was a little bit flimsy. Whereas the Sigma one, I can get more precision with it. And that actually leads me to tell you guys that Sigma reached out to me and I'm now part of their affiliate program, which is so exciting and I'm so honored to be a part of. So if you guys wanted to pick up some goodies from Sigma, they have this palette coming out. Actually, it would already be out by the time this video is uploaded, but it's like this bright pastel-y palette. And if you guys saw my last video, you know that I was on the hunt for a palette like this, so I am so excited to pick that up. But if you guys wanted to get some products from Sigma, then you can just use the code KT10 to save 10% off, or just click the link in my description box. It will always be there, and that will bring you to the Sigma page where you can go on a bit of a shopping spree. And I know how expensive makeup is, so any chance to save money on makeup, I'll definitely take. But I also know that there is a bit of a stigma about codes, and I just want to put it straight out there and say, of course, I'm going to be 100% honest whether I love a product, whether I don't. And I definitely communicated this with Sigma before joining the program, and they were like, yes, we 100% want your honest opinion. I was like, good, I'm glad we're on the same page. Yeah, so let's get back onto the brows because literally, I'm sure you guys can't take me seriously. I mean, I can't even take myself seriously right now because I've got one half done brow, one brow that hasn't been touched, a full face of makeup, and just like, I'm a hot mess. So yeah, I'm going to take this Sigma small angled brush and that Chi brow pomade, and this product is nice and creamy, so I'm just going to pick that up on the brush, and then I'm going to outline my brow so that I have a really nice, sharp, defined brow. When I get to the end of my brow, I'm just going to make a flick so that I have a nice, sharp point to my brow. And again, I'll just do feather-like strokes with this, really, really lightly, because pomades can definitely make your brow go from like 0 to 100 and like nice and natural to like block eyebrows real quickly. So I just obviously have to use a heavy hand towards the end of my brow because like I said, I did cut off the end of my brow hairs, so it's just skin there, so I have to create the shape. But here where I do have the hairs, I just really lightly use this product to fill in those sparse areas. And when I get to the beginning of my brow, I'm just going to really lightly start to create a line at the beginning of my brow, which like lines up to the rest of my brow. Really, really lightly, and then flicking upwards so that my brow hairs are like coated with the product, but it doesn't look blocky at all. Now I'm going to go in with a brow fiber, and this changed my brow game. So I love the Benefit Give Me Brow, but I'm trying to give you guys a bit more of an affordable brow routine. So a great dupe for that is the Chi Brow Fiber, or what I'm going to use today, which is the L'Oreal Brow Artist Plumper, and I'm in the shade Medium Dark. So what a brow fiber does is it tints your brow hairs, which is perfect when you want that fluffy, bushy look to your brows, especially at the beginning of your brows when you want them to look a little bit more natural. And what I love about this L'Oreal product is it sets the brow hairs as well as tinting them. And I am going to go in with a brow gel still, but when you're in a rush and you just quickly need to do your brows and then leave, this is the product I go to because it also sets the brow hairs into place, as I said. So what I'm going to do with this product is just run it through my brows, and I like to push the beginning of my brow hairs up again so that it looks like my brows are more bushy and fluffy and I have more hair than I actually do. So working that into the beginning of my brow, and then as I start to move down my brow, I brush the brow hairs into their natural shape and just work down the brow. Okay, so now I'm gonna set everything into place, and my favorite brow gel is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. It's like super glue for your brows, so I'm just gonna take that and just do exactly what I did with the brow fiber. So just push the beginning of my brow hairs up, and then as I move further down my brow, just push them into their natural position. And this will keep my brow hairs in place all day. Okay, so my final step is pretty much just assess what the brow looks like and then take it from there. So I can see a little bit of sparseness around here, so I'm just going to quickly go back in with my pencil, and although I want the beginning of my brow to look natural, I don't want it to look sparse. I'm also just going to go back in with a little bit of concealer and just clean up this top bit here. I definitely think a final step is to highlight the brow bone. I think that just makes the brow really pop, so I'm just going to take some highlighter, just pop it on that brow bone. And that, guys, completes my brow routine. As you can see, it's a little bit of a process, but all worth it because I definitely think brows make a look. It's very traumatizing to know that I used to not fill them in, and I'm actually quite expressive with my brows. I think because, you know, I did musical theatre, and because I do have quite hooded eyes, so when they aren't like up, it kind of feels like I'm frowning. So my brows are kind of all over the place, but this is the shape that I do them. I'm now rambling, so thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and you learned something, and hopefully I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys. Oh, this was in my mouth that whole time.